So I am very much looking forward to see Anson Mount. He's probably my favorite.
He's dreamy.
Like you said, he is. But I just think he acts so well. And I really think the chemistry that he has with Ethan Peck, especially knowing that they are friends, off screen as well, and with Rebecca. I'm really excited to see more of Anson Mount. So I'm just going to say that.
I think so too. I think he's great. Like, I watched him on Hell on Wheels, which is a really good show.
That was amazing, listeners. You have to go watch.
Filmed in Alberta. Yeah, up here in Canada. With Chief O'Brien, Cole Meany. Yeah, he was in it. I didn't like how that show ended, myself.
I couldn't stand that last season.
Yeah, I thought the last season wasn't so great. There was some good stuff in it, again, but I mean, overall, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But that's okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
So...
The first 4 were amazing. So
yeah, I thought it got better. Like season 2, I thought was really good. Where that prostitute was with that black guy. Like, I don't remember the character's name because I haven't seen it since it aired, right? But I thought that whole plot line was really good.
Yeah, that was good. I know, I miss them. And also, I am really looking forward to Ethan Peck. Like I said at the beginning, I wasn't excited to see Spock come back into the picture, but I've really fallen in love what Ethan Peck has done with Spock. And it sort of sounded like he's going to be getting back more to the logical Spock and not the emotional that he was in Discovery. He's matured a little bit more.
I hated that line, "I like science." That fell flat for me in the show. Yeah, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. That's all. I mean, we know that he was different at that time. We know that in the cage he smiled, which is fine. I got no problems with that. It's just, yeah. I think Ethan Peck did a great job. I think he was fine as Spock. Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else? I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that is the news. Listeners, will post, in case you haven't seen, a link on our show notes so you can go there and see the announcement from StarTrek.com.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And if you guys want to support us on Patreon, at $3 a month level, you can get early releases. At $5 a month, Zach and I, who are over on Franchise Fatigue here on the network, Zach and I do a monthly audio commentary for a Star Trek episode, and we're kind of rotating through the series. And, we've done Voyager, and we've done Next Gen, and a couple of short treks, and we did the first episode of Discovery. So I think our next one's going to be Deep Space Nine, and it's just fun. We just have a little fun while we do an audio commentary. So if you listen to us over on Standard Orbit on Trek FM when we did commentaries, it's basically like that. So
awesome. Very good. And listeners, please go to iTunes and leave us a star rating and written review. That will help others find our show. And let us know what you'd like for us to discuss. We're definitely open to your ideas. So, Brandon, where can people contact you?
Well, before I say that, I just wanted to say this show's way better without Patrick. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Shea-Mutala. You can find me over on the Fandom Podcast Network with a show called Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, where my friends Chris and Tom and I, we go over Hitch's films one at a time in chronological order. Next month, we're doing Spellbound with Gregory Peck, who is Ethan Peck's grandfather. I was just watching that tonight before we started recording here. And you can also find me on Trek FM with a show called The Line, which is all about Star Trek Picard. And coming soon, sometime in the fall, you can see me on the Nerd Party Network with a show called House of Fincher, where we go over David Fincher's films one at a time with Tristan Riddell and John Mills. And that's a lot of fun, that podcast. I'm having a great time. Amy, where can people find you when you're not Googling over Anson Mount?
That's all the time, but you can find me on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson. You can find me over on Trek FM hosting Earl Grey, which talks nothing but Next Generation. And you can find me there on our Facebook group page at UFP Earth. So thank you for listening, and we hope you'll join us as we search out all good things.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.